This is a really unique opportunity, and I refuse to see this as just a negative.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. It's Jeff. I got Chad here with me. We're excited to come in here live. Obviously, we would love it to be a different situation and why everyone's probably home right now today, but a little extended or early and extended spring breaks. A lot going on. If you caught Ray last night, she informed you that, we've been doing a lot of talking, a lot of meeting, a lot of calls, a lot of planning to try and figure out the best ways that we can do to not only continue to support you as we always try to, but to strategically support you during this time and this a lot of unknowns, a lot of sort of new uncharted territory for a lot of us and things that are going on. So we wanted to come on. This is going to be happen every single day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, so on and so forth, right here in the group. The nice thing about these videos is that they will be saved here in the group. And then what we are also doing with these videos is then taking them and they will be put onto YouTube a little bit later. And then we're going to be grabbing the audio and sharing it out on our podcast, on Teach Better Talk, on that as a bonus episode as well. So we're trying to get this out as much as possible so that you can access it and that you can share it and that people can take advantage of it. So every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, someone from the team or potentially multiple people like today will be here live to chat with you, to brainstorm, to cover questions. We are also reaching out to a lot of people and folks in our network and people who we really respect to bring them in to talk to them about specifics about their roles and how they're supporting, whether it be their teachers or their community or their students or all of the above. How they're doing that as well. So look for that. We're gonna have a lot of people coming in, a lot of people that are obviously jumping at the opportunity to try and share and help and stuff like that too. Hi Megan, happy Monday. So keep close to the Facebook group, watch for that. We're gonna be doing that. I do want to touch on, I know Ray did this last night if you caught her in here, but I want to make sure that we're touching on the fact that we are still continuing all the things that we typically do. So Mastery Chat on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Which is just always a great opportunity to connect, to learn, to grow, to have conversations, to collaborate. And in this time where you may not be able to collaborate next door or down the hall, you're going to be able to reach out to teachers from all over the world coming to Mastery Chat. We are working with our moderators and some of the team is going to be moderating as well to try to tailor the topics of these chats to be a little more connected to a lot of the problems that we're all dealing with right now. So we are working with our moderators for that, working amongst the team to come up with good ideas. After Mastery Chat every week, we also go live on our Facebook page here, facebook.com/teachbetterteam to recap that. So if you're not a Twitter person, that's a great chance for you to still get a lot of what happened in the Mastery Chat and a lot of recap, ask questions, all that type of stuff too. We still have Facebook Live. After that, we still have blogs going on every day. So 4 of those going on all the time every week, plus the 3 Teach Better Talk podcasts going out every week as well. So a lot of content that is going to continue. That we already have, or you may already know that we have a lot of free downloads over at teachbetter.com as well. So that is there. We always have the free courses over at the teachbetteracademy.com as well. Some of the things that we're adding to that is we're adjusting, working with our writers and adjusting, and Caitlin's doing an amazing job at trying to target and tailor those blog posts and those downloads to help with these specific challenges that we're facing right now. And specifically some new downloads coming that are there to help support you during this time as well. We are also continuing the free PD series in here, the Teaching on Island, which may be even more important right now as a lot of us are losing the collaboration partners that we have right down the hallway. So Teaching on Island series is still going on as well. Some of the new things that we're doing that we've been strategizing, we do have a new course coming that's specific to touching on some of these topics like e-learning and distance learning and things of that nature, coming to the Academy as soon as possible this week. We do have new, like I said, new specific targeted downloads, checklists, things of that nature coming. Strategically, the blogs are adjusting to what we can do. And then this, so every morning, checking in here with you. We just want you to know that we're here. We want to be able to answer any questions that we possibly can. And if we can't answer them, go find someone else who can to bring it to you. We want you to know that you're not alone right now. We want to bring you guys together, whether that's collaborating with us or who we bring in or just the other folks in the comments in this group. So this is going to be here, like I said before. These get saved in this group, so you can always find them underneath the videos tab. There's also a lot of already saved videos in here as well. We will also be pushing this out on YouTube if that's somewhere we like to consume content. And it will be, if you're an audio person, we'll be pushing the audio of this out onto the podcast as well. So excited about that. Chad and I wanted to come in and sort of kick this off and talk through things. We actually spent the weekend with Ray planning and strategizing, trying to figure out how can we best support you, what can we do for you, and coming up with a plan for that. So someone said, hi, you guys are awesome. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate it. Thank you again for making all these resources available. Thank you to both of you. Just a reminder, so when we do these videos in the group like this, we actually can't see your name. It's a Facebook privacy thing. So when you comment, if you could throw your name at the end of it, that'd be awesome, just so we can know who you are and say hi. So appreciate the positivity there and everything. We are going to continue to try and push everything we can out. Something that Ray said a few times last night that I want to say again and sort of emphasize is the fact that if there is something that you are specifically struggling with, hi Brittany, or something that you're specifically looking for and you can't find it or you're not quite there, let us know, ask us, because we can try to create that. We can try to either collaborate with you on that or bring someone in that has a expertise in that area or that tech tool or whatever it might be. So if there's something that you feel you need or that you're struggling with during this time, let us know, reach out to us. All of our emails are just our name at teachbetter.com. So Jeff at teachbetter.com, Chad at teachbetter.com, Ray is RAE at teachbetter.com. You can reach out to us. You can post here. You can tweet us, whatever. We want to try and create these things if they're available there. So I'm going to let Chad talk for a minute now. So finally, so Chad, I wanted to, what I was hoping maybe you could kind of touch on is, there's a lot going on, a lot of things to be thought through, to try and be figured out. I think a lot of teachers are probably waiting for some direction from, possibly from their admins, who are potentially waiting for direction from the state on requirements and what they should be focusing on. Some schools are very well prepared for distance learning, e-learning, blended learning. Sure. Some are not. Some are not even sure, like not even to that point right now, because they're still worrying about and trying to figure out how do we take care of meals, how do we take care of the kids, and that's obviously should be number one. But as we start getting a little further into this and start really getting into the now that we got safety taken care of, we've got food taken care of, that type of thing. We're comfortable with where the kids are. How do we best support them so that they don't develop gaps during this next several weeks or a month or whatever it ends up being? Can you kind of give us your thoughts on what are some of the really key sort of areas or thoughts or focuses that we should be having as classroom teachers when it comes to supporting our students and their stakeholders at home? What should we be thinking about? And we can go a little broad here, and then if we go deep, we'll go based on on that. But sort of the broad, like, what am I thinking about? So like, these are the things that I should be writing down, areas I should be talking about, so then I can go find the resources that I need to accomplish it. What are some of the things in your mind?
Yeah. So one thing I'd like for all teachers to consider right now is that literally the information that we receive in terms of how long is this going to last, what does this look like, what are the new things, is going to change almost every single day, right? So what I want to avoid is, okay, let's plan for the information we have today, and then let's put a Band-Aid on that, and then I get new information tomorrow, so now I'm resetting and recalibrating, right? So most schools, this is kind of how I see it, like a 1,000-foot view of a lot of what of this. Most schools, I think there's over like some 20-some states have completely closed schools. I think every state has some districts closed. And then I think as this continues to progress, there will be a point where most schools are closed. I don't know that for sure. But the biggest thing in my mind right now is, like, we don't know what this is going to look like tomorrow, what it's going to look like next week, and what it's going to look like on, March 30th, when many schools say they're going to be reevaluating what it looks like. I know here in Ohio, our governor says, like, we're not sure what's going to be happening with state testing. We're not sure if kids are going to go back to school before
Yeah.
the end of the year. And it's different state by state, and it's different depending on your situation. So with that in mind, I think we have to plan with the best practices that we always have planned with. So
Mhm.
right now, like if I'm a teacher, I know that sounds weird, but like if I'm sitting here in this situation and I'm planning for my classroom, um, spring break is right on the horizon. So that was a break that was uh, already kind of there,
Yeah.
where like no academic growth is supposed to be happening, and kids are not supposed to be in school, teachers are not supposed to be in school. The timing of this, if I'm looking for silver linings, is that this beginning part is butted up right against a pre-planned break, right?
Hmm.
So if I'm a teacher right now, up until spring break, I'm focused on, which is usually within a week from now, or like within, that's fair, right? Like I think most spring breaks are
Give
either
or
next
take a
week
week
or
or
the week
two.
after.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So like my thought is I'm going to strategically put things into place to make sure my students are okay, make sure my parents are informed. If I'm a principal, I'm probably not thinking about academics at this moment. I'm probably thinking more about logistics. How am I going to make sure learning continues? How am I going to make sure kids can still get access to lunches? If I'm a teacher, I'm thinking, how can um, how can I get to this break that was already kind of planned? So like that's like sort of stage one in my opinion, right?
Yep.
Make sure you're setting up kind of your security and your foundation for setting up the pieces and putting them in place for after spring break. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
So
want
like,
I want to interrupt you for a second because I had a good comment that I want to throw at you and then let that kind of go. You go with that too. And I don't know who posted it because again, so something weird about Facebook is when we're in the group here, they don't tell us your name. So whoever posted this, I appreciate let me know who this is. But they said thank you both for doing this. But then they said best advice is to take this in bite-sized chunks these
yeah,
next 2 weeks. And you were sort of alluding to some of this is that these next 2 weeks are an opportunity to just experiment. If things continue, we will have more tools in our toolbox in April by testing these things out now. Like Chad was saying, we're coming up on a already planned break. So like you can do some testing now, get some things in
sure,
place. Then you have that break that was already there anyway, where they're not expecting
right,
much from you. And then now if we continue on, which a lot of signs kind of do that. Oh, it's Dave Schmidt. So thanks, Dave. Allows us to, you know, if it does continue on, which it does look like in a lot of states it's going to, you've had a chance, like Dave said, to take bite-sized chunks to test things out, to utilize, like Chad was talking about, this already pre-planned break that was there to really get into it so that if it does extend for the rest of the year, we're not forming these massive gaps in learning. We're
sure,
able to still get them where they need to go
right.
and do that by testing things now. And we're testing the whole time, but I think the bite-sized chunks is a great um, piece of advice to really think about that as like just little pieces, little steps, right?
Absolutely.
Always better, right? I mean, that's
Sure. So
the whole
depending on where
thing.
you are as a teacher, you might be experimenting with different things. If you're thinking, I've never used Google Classroom before, or I've never used
Hmm.
an LMS before, but my district has it, right? Now would be a really good time to go, hey, let me see if I can get this all set up with my students, with the parents involved and helping them kind of get on, log on, so that now you have the platform set up.
Hmm.
You've set probably a couple assignments, but then over break or when we have some more time or when your district gives you time, because chances are, if we're moving this way, most teachers are going to be getting planning time to put things in place.
Sure.
That's not guaranteed. I'm not saying every district's perfect, or I don't want to talk for every district in the United States right now, but like most of the time we're going to get time to put these things in place. So Dave is absolutely 1,000% right. This is the time when you want to experiment with things that maybe you want to just see how they work.
Hmm.
You do a remote assignment. Can you do some non-techie assignments and see how collecting that data goes?
Yep.
Can you do some in terms of like formative assessment? Like, how are you going to be collecting data so you know that your students are learning? I can tell you right now that we've been flooded with emails, texts, and posts on Facebook of teachers using the grid method that are going, every single teacher in my school is freaking out. I'm not, though, because I had
Yep.
these pieces in place. So the
Hmm.
pedagogy for those teachers, the instruction for those teachers, even though they're not in a physical space, isn't going to change much. So my goal, and I'm not saying everyone has to do the grid method, my goal is to put those instructional pieces in place that are already effective and then just extend them to a digital environment. So we shouldn't just go, okay, now everything's online, or now everything is, a packet that I send home.
Yeah.
Those good practices and instructions still need to be there. So there was a great question. I don't know if you saw it come through. It says,
Brittany's question. Yeah, I hope you knew that.
what,
Go ahead.
yeah. So what does e-learning look like if it may not involve electronics? Being called to help put a plan in case it moved. Okay. In case we do not get back
Yeah.
in the classroom March 31st.
So Brittany's her 5th through 8th grade students are one-to-one Chromebooks, but K through 4 is not one-to-one of any electronics. So what is that e-learning? What can that e-learning look like if that K through 4 doesn't have electronics?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What does that look like?
So this can look a lot of different ways. So like a lot of students and some students might still have access to online materials. So like a lot of districts are kind of going, okay, if you have access, you don't need a device, but maybe there's 200 students, but there's 125 devices at the school. And I don't know, what the policies are for tech, but some schools are going, who needs a device and doesn't have one, right? So then you can logistically go, if you need a device, you can come and pick it up and sign it out at the school. So now that there is access. So that's sort of like going, well, we need there to be tech. But I also think as long as there's a direct line of communication and a way to get information to the students or disperse that information, I think there's a lot of activities that students can do that are long term. Like think of like longer term projects that students can work on, at their home, or the internet exists at this point in most households, whether it's on a phone or whether it's on a tablet or a device. I mean, so when we think about this, I think there are a lot of opportunities where we can give students assignments via paper, right? So maybe they're not doing all the work via paper, but maybe they can still reach out and do some additional work using additional resources.
And that might be, it has to be delivery via email or delivery via your LMS if you have it to the parents, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, if students can't come to the school, like
I know our local districts
are
allowing there's specific device and packet pickup times, and they're limiting the number of students that can come at any one time, keeping safe distances when they arrive, things of that nature. So there's ways. So it depends on what your district's doing to do that. I think the most important Chad touched on is just whatever your line of communication to them, open it up more than it's ever been opened. And make sure that you're utilizing it and you're over communicating all the time, because they don't have you face to face, both your students or your parents. So being available to them as much as possible, whatever way you're allowed. It's tough to know the specifics there, but
I also think in terms of planning instruction. So if I'm going to send, if I don't have any, I don't have any tech available to my students, right? So maybe I have to reduce it to a paper-based delivery. What happens with that paper-based delivery doesn't have to be just 50 worksheets. And I know that's a really easy sort of nearest goalpost a lot of times is, let me print off 87 different activities, staple them together, and we're good to go. I very much like every teacher to consider that more work doesn't necessarily mean more learning, depending on the quality of that work. So we can give our students more open-ended questions, more exploratory inquiry-based questions that they can dive into while they're at home and things like that. Now, it's not very warm, at least in the Midwest right now, but as this goes further, as it starts to warm up, and if we're still in this, I'd say, consider the environment in which the students are learning, right? So there are ways to give students opportunities to, build things, look at things, and then maybe document their thoughts on a paper, right? But the whole activity isn't like the worksheet. So they can do other things and stay engaged. And as long as we make sure those lines of communication. So we have to think about the environment our students are doing this work in. So like bombarding them with like extra work because they're not in a physical environment, I think is the wrong way to go.
Yeah.
Saying that, well, because I'm not teaching you, here's more worksheets. I think that doesn't make sense to me. So I think less
It's adapting
work
the work,
at a higher
not
quality
yes, yeah.
makes more sense to me than more just filler. So
Yeah.
like that's the one thing I'd caution. Like I know this is a really difficult time in terms of planning, but it's also a difficult time for parents and households that are dealing with all of this. So you have to consider like the students at a home with a parent or two parents or a guardian who's also trying to navigate all of this.
Mhm.
And the
So
last thing, go ahead.
you were going right where I was going, but like someone I don't know who was commented, and I just threw it up, but a big piece, and this is really important. You were talking about the guardian, like because parents and stakeholders are going to be more involved right now, probably than they have been in a long time, potentially because they have
Yes.
to be. So one was this is all for communication, but it has to be clear and organized. We need to think about families that don't know our educational jargon and have children with 8 to 9 different teachers. And by the way, families that don't know educational jargon are every single family you deal with that is not a teacher.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
just like that's just the way it is, right? So, and they may not, and even if they are a teacher in a different district, it might be slightly different jargon. So very clear, very concise, very organized, very um explanations, very, like I said, clear. Yeah, don't use jargon, use full, don't use abbreviations, use the full language, and be very clear to those at home, because they are now forced to, because of where we're at, they're going to be more involved in their child's learning, which you can say is a good thing anyway, but like they need to
Yeah.
be, because the child doesn't have you there. They need to have the parents. So as much as we can give them both in communication and tools and explanation of what, and support, that they don't have to be experts, that it's okay, I think is really important. So really great point
I
there.
think
So
that's why, like teachers, and I don't want to beat this horse too much more, but like teachers that are using the grid method aren't feeling a lot of pain right now because they've trained their students on how to do this process, and they've put the time in to do. But the reason I think that's going to be effective is because the student understands, the teacher understands, so that the parent's still there to help if they need, but like the instructional processes are already in place. Some teachers may not have that
mm-hmm.
opportunity, but you still have to think through, if I'm now expecting the parent to be able to guide and monitor the student like in the physical environment,
Yeah.
I need to, as the instructor, as the instructor, give very clear, concise, simple instructions and learning opportunities that can continue the growth of the
Yeah.
students.
Someone made a point here, just saying they said I'd rather see things curated in a Google Classroom like environment than an email that floods the inbox. So that's something to keep in mind. Absolutely, 100% agree that I would as well. So the thing to keep in mind is if you already have something like that in place, yes, do that, right? But if you're not already utilizing that, you may have to resort to whatever you have available. So use whatever is in place. Don't create a new system. If you're delivering things to parents and students via Google Classroom, Schoology, or whatever it might be, utilize those tools that are there.
I also
want to say hi to Andrea. Hi, Neil.
Dr. Neil Gupta coming in hot today. I like it.
I want to comment what he's saying, just because we're talking about Neil. He said it's absolutely something they're thinking about in his district. If they end up going off longer than 2 weeks, the kids see 6 to 8 teachers a day. There needs to be a template that has every teacher and work in one place. So
yeah, so
I agree. Something that, so that and that's a great point, because, and we've talked several times about, your kids seeing multiple teachers, right? So if my kid has 8 different teachers and I'm getting 8 different varieties of language and organization or delivery methods, that's going to drive me crazy. And I'm probably going to miss a lot. So working as a district, as you're building, however you want to do it, or even your grade level, working together is absolutely key to make sure that everything that we're delivering to parents and stakeholders and students is coming as structured and the same way as possible. So communicating the same way, delivering the same way, same type of requirements, same jargon, all that type of stuff, so that we are, again, that clear, concise, and organized. Whoever was that earlier said that, very organized communication and delivery and everything. Yeah, great point.
So Neil had an amazing point there, and I think a clear, concise delivery of what is expected from the student, with the understanding that they're not going to be at 100% capacity for learning like at least in these initial stages while this adjustment's happening,
Hmm.
is absolutely important. So I would actually say every teacher shouldn't be thinking, well, there are 5 days of instruction, so I need to have 5 completely separate, super engaging
Yeah.
assignments. Whereas if I put a single template with everything the student needs to do for every subject on a single piece of paper that has links or opportunities that are, if it's digital, that's even easier. But even if
Hmm.
it's paper based, if I get a 5-page, 6-page packet, but it covers all of my student subjects, it is much less daunting than if I get 8 different packets that are 12 pages each for
Agree.
every
Yes. Yeah.
classroom. So I really think there's also a component of this, which we have to collaborate with our teacher-based teams. So we have to collaborate with the rest of our 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 4th grade teacher team and go, what are you
Yeah.
doing and how are we communicating as a school, as a grade level to our stakeholders and to our, because
Yeah.
parent, like if I'm a parent, I am a parent, but like if I'm getting, like
If
if
I
I'm
was a
getting,
guy,
but like
sorry.
I'm going to be really stressed out if I get if my students in 5, 6 different subjects and I get 5 to 6 different giant packets for them to do.
And
Like
if
that's
and if
not
one of them is here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, another one is here's week 1, and
right.
and they're different
So
organizations. Like that has to be communicated, like you said, amongst the grade level, the subject level, the building, the district, everything. That is absolutely key. There's nothing
yes,
more annoying as or frustrating as a parent than confusion in the communication that's coming from
yeah,
school,
and I think
especially during a time like this. So
Ray is making a really good point here, and I think this
yeah,
is kind of where we started with like
yeah,
good instruction, good pedagogy should still be here, right?
yeah,
So a lot of people are going to go, I need to fill stuff. I
yeah.
need to fill time, or I need a certain amount of time to fill. And this goes back
Hmm.
to our mastery based philosophy, right? When you really don't, right? Think about the quality and the learning you need to happen in your students' progress,
Hmm.
not the amount of days or amount of time you need to fill.
I want
So
to
if you
read. I want. Sorry, go. Sorry, Chad. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
if you think about the learning targets, and I know that like this is kind of annoying for some teachers right now because they're just trying to stay afloat.
Sure.
I get that, but I'm telling you, long term, it will pay you back in terms of not losing any gaps. Because if you're just taking stuff and throwing it in whatever template that you were given or plan on
Hmm.
using, and it's just random stuff, you're wasting your time in the planning process, and you're wasting your students and their parents' time when they do this work that's not necessarily aligned. If you pick less, more aligned, more strategic activities, even if there aren't as many as you would have originally hoped, but they're aligned to the targets and you're still thinking that way, the growth that you're going to see is going to be better than if you just like fill the student's time. So we
Yeah.
still need to be thinking about this way. I know we're in panic mode in a lot of places. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but you still know how to teach. You still know how to plan. You still know how to make good learning targets and good instruction. Just because we're in a different setting doesn't mean those things go out the window and we have to just make it work. That's
Yeah.
not good enough. Like I know
Yeah.
we're in this situation. Sorry, I'm getting a little flustered right now.
All good.
But like
You
like
got taller because of the soapbox.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like you're a great teacher right now. I don't care who's watching this. You're a great teacher. You know how to teach. You know how to develop instruction. Just because it's happening not in your classroom doesn't mean you forget how to do all of those things. You can still have engaging projects. You can still have all those things. The way you're communicating and monitoring those things may just change a little bit, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But still go back to those roots of quality planning, those aligned targets, scaffolded learning, multiple options for differentiation. Like none of these things should really change. They're just being put in a different environment. We all have the capacity to do this. We cannot let the gravity of the situation lower the expectation we have for ourselves or reduce the quality of the instruction that we're providing. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect our first try, but we are able to do this. We are some of the smartest people in this entire country as educators of the children and the future generations. Like, this is just another challenge. But the good thing is, I read somewhere that teachers make more minute to minute decisions than a brain surgeon. To say that any teacher can't deal with, oh, now I have to do things online is absolutely ridiculous. We can do this. We are able to do this, and we will do this. And we're going to come out better on the other side because this is also going to take away a lot of things like classroom management. So now you can design pure, unadulterated instruction for your students without considering the physical management of the classroom, which is a huge focus for a lot of teachers. So this is going to be an opportunity to reflect purely and without like mixing in some of these management practices. I'm not saying you don't have to digitally manage, but like in terms of like making kids be quiet while you speak or things like just weird things like that, like you're not going to have to do that anymore. So you can actually take this as an opportunity to 1,000% focus on your instruction, your feedback, and your assessment. And
So
I got really excited there, but I'm just kind of
I want to read for the podcast listeners, because this is going to the podcast as well. The Ray's comment that spurred on that the passion that just flew out of Chad like that. So one thing, what Ray said to kind of spur that was, I'm seeing teachers allow the chaos of the time and the distance sort of distance them from targets. So she says, one, get a clear understanding of what teachers are required to accomplish from the district. And then two, refocus what you, the teacher, already know is good for students and focus on clear targets and next steps, which is where Chad really went with that. Someone else coming right after that, this is a great opportunity for educators to reflect and review the standards to see what's important and what's necessary. Ray then had a great comment. So middle school and high school strive for 15 to 20 minutes of engagement per class. Allows for targeted opportunities for students during this time.
That's a great point.
I'm looking at some of these other ones. There are a bunch of comments came in while you were talking there, so I'm going to read a few of them off, and then we can touch on more of that. So someone dropped in, please don't ask students to fill out a quiz and not look at their notes. Let's not put our students in that position. Actually foster them using their notes and adjust the questions to go deeper and DOK.
Yeah.
Chelsea just hit at the fact that another prime reason why Ray's tagline, fluff ain't enough. It's got to be there. Someone quoted Brene Brown, clear is kind. So that's going back to that idea of being clear and concise with our people. That's just a kind. It's just, honestly, in this time, it really is kind to just be clear and concise with them, so that it takes a little bit of that frustration off. Let me get a few more of these in. So here's a great point, and you touched on this as well, is that someone said, I think so much of the panic is leading to the rush to get the workout fast instead of focusing on getting the right workout that focuses on our targets and standards. So that Chad was touching on that. This isn't about filling it and getting them work because we're supposed to get them work. It's about making sure that this doesn't create gaps in their learning by focusing on what we were already going to teach them. So you're not creating, like Chad said, it's not more work to get more learning. It's just taking the work you were already going to do and adjusting it to this new unique position we're in. Then sometimes, like Chad said, that may actually mean less work, but better targeted work right now. And we have that opportunity to reflect and do that. So focus on what you're trying to get them to learn, not just giving them a bunch of work to do at home, just in general. So great question there. Megan said, I think less is more. Ask students to read and critique or make their thinking visible and selecting a position and justifying their position. Ray just says, yes, amen, Chad. So nice job there, buddy. Andrea with some encouragement. We got this. Chelsea also said, or someone else said, great point. And then Neil chimed in, just reconfirming that it's all about supporting our students right now. It may not always be with the instruction, which you also touched on times too. Like another big piece here is that while yes, they don't have you in the classroom to sit with them, to connect with them, to talk with them about the work, they also just don't have you to connect with them about life, about themselves. So I think instead of like Chad was talking about, don't focus on more work, focus on more interaction, because you don't have the one-on-one person, but focus on, like I said, whatever that communication is, whether it's email, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a Google Classroom, Schoology, whatever it is, do that more, communicate more concise, offer more opportunities for them to ask questions more. If you can do video conferencing and open it up for teachers to connect with you or whatever it is, do more of that. Don't just give them more work. Give them the work that they're already going to get, strategic and targeted, and then give them as much as you possibly can of yourself, because they need more virtual you because they don't have the physical you, if that makes sense. That sounds weird, but I think it makes sense.
No. So something I want to like highlight that you just said is opportunities for interaction. Okay. So like, I think it's very important that we don't force students to go, you need to be in front of this camera, watching this video from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
That's just more stress
every day
for them,
so
and
that's
for
more stress for the parents, and we don't know what's going on around that student if their parents have to go to work. So we have to give opportunities for those connections and networking. And then you can adjust how you're offering those based on the response. So if every morning you do a live video, but no one shows up to it, like you can probably reduce those live videos or maybe record them, which I would highly recommend anyway. So if you do a live session, record it. There's a billion tools out there. Google it. Okay. So Google things if you don't know. 1,000% Google things. And I want to go back to another point that as I'm just thinking through it,
so
we coach
before
teachers.
You do that real quick, just because I want to touch on something you were just saying. So recording piece, and so one thing I want you to know is what we're doing right now is super simple, easy, and Facebook does it all for you. So you can create a Facebook group. Yeah. Invite all your parents. You can create a one for every one of your classes if you wanted to, and then do this. Go live. You can read their comments. You can answer questions. You can provide that interaction, and you just do it at a scheduled time like we're doing right now in the morning. There's a bunch of people coming right now, but if tomorrow there's no one, we're still going to do it on Wednesday and on Thursday. That's that opportunity. Whether you take it or not is all up to your circumstance and what you can do. So same thing for that. What's great about doing it on Facebook is that it's built in, it's simple, and then it saves it. And other parents come back and do this, the interaction. So I just want to touch on that. That's a simple solution. I actually walked through that, and I think the social media course, or I think there's a video on one of our free downloads way at the bottom that is actually how to create a Facebook group, or reach out and we'll help you. But that's potentially a way to do it. Facebook groups, you can make them secure. The parents have control over that and everything like that. So there's a lot of ways to utilize that. So I want to touch on that as a tool kind of tip there for you.
Yeah. Wow,
sorry,
there's a lot of amazing things happening.
Megan also mentioned Flipgrid's a great way to do that as well. That she set up a Flipgrid for each class, so she can leave daily messages and they can check in when they want to. So Flipgrid is an awesome tool for that as well.
Great tool.
I do want to touch that Chelsea commented that we aren't just focused on instructional content, but providing our students with support and still building relationships virtually. So, and I know this is true about Chelsea, one of her favorite parts of her class is conferencing with students. So now that just has to be done in a virtual space and figuring that out with the tools that you and your students and stakeholders have available and figuring that out. So a lot of awesome comments here. So I just want to know if you're on the podcast listening right now and you are not in this group, go to teachbettergroup.com or get into Facebook and search Teach Better Team and get in here because there are amazing teachers commenting right now and connecting with each other that you can connect with as well. So if you're listening, make sure you check this out at some point too and connect with all these amazing teachers that are in this group. So sorry, Chad, talking to a lot of different audiences here. I want to make sure we're getting everyone covered.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Also, Ray is touching on, there is a new course that's coming out possibly today, if not tomorrow, I think is when it's going to come out. Where Ray is going to touch on a lot of this stuff that we're talking about as well. So this is great. So go ahead, Chad. You had another point. I took you completely off it. I hope it's still there in your head.
I hope it is. I'm trying to find it again. So I think there's sort of like this culminating. I think we can kind of close up some of this conversation with like a single thread, and I think that is, we coach teachers across the country. We've coached teachers in their classrooms on different things from DOK, grid method, like you name it. We've worked with teachers on it. And the number one feedback, regardless of what you're helping teachers with, regardless of how you're helping teachers, is when teachers think something's not going to work or they're afraid to try something. Two of the most common things that teachers tell me are, I don't have the time, or I'm really focused on management, or I don't know if my kids can handle X, Y, Z, which there's other issues behind some of those things. But I want to, instead of looking at this as a negative, because there are teachers right now going, oh my gosh, I can't believe all this extra work I have to do to make this e-learning, to do X, Y, Z. I also want them to view this as an opportunity. So like you can view this two ways. You can view it as a hindrance and like a huge extra amount of work you have to do, or you can look at it from another perspective and say, there are two things that I normally stop me from trying new things, and that's I don't have the time, or maybe I'm afraid how it's going to physically manifest in a classroom. This opportunity kind of gives us an experimental setting or a lab setting, an educational lab setting, which removes both of these variables, which are huge issues for like most teachers when they're trying something new.
Yeah.
So this is such a great opportunity that I think if we see it in the right light, can move a lot of teachers, in terms of like that teach better mindset. We have to view this as, this is an opportunity to try those things we maybe weren't ready to try with a physical classroom, but like now we can see how they work with our students in a safer, more sort of confined environment in the digital world. So I truly, truly think that this is a great opportunity. And if we see it as such, we can come out on the other side of it stronger,
Hmm.
more apt, having more tools and resources, and overall better.
It comes
And
around this whole. It's not just about surviving this. It's
yes,
how do we
yes,
continue? So we're not just like you going back to where you started at the very beginning. It's not just about filling time. It's not just about surviving. It's how can we come out better on the other side? Not just us, but also our schools and our students. I do want to touch on, because I mentioned the Facebook. Someone said little students may not have Facebook accounts, so how can they be reached via Facebook? One thing, there's other tools. It doesn't have to be Facebook. Someone mentioned Schoology Conferencing allows that.
right.
When it is on Facebook, obviously, if they're under the age of when they're allowed to sign up for Facebook, you're going to have to do that via their parents. My kids, my kids' teachers have Facebook groups that are for us as the parents. That I don't know if they're going to be utilizing it this time, but they could as a way for us. Obviously, that'll require the parent to log them on and get them in and make sure that that's what they're doing there. So that's a lot of working with what you have and what you can do, what's going to work for your audience. Facebook is just one of the ways that can do that as well. Hi, Brianna, she's on there. And Andrea seconds that. Chad, just always looking for that silver line and paying attention to that. Someone commented, teachers are flexible by nature. This is simply a new challenge to tackle and one we are probably best equipped to handle. Stay strong, everyone. Chad touched on it earlier with the comment about that, teachers make more minute-to-minute, second-to-second decisions than anyone. There is no group that is better equipped to handle this than educators. Like, that's just flat out true. Also, someone else mentioned as another tool, Google Hangout Meets also works really well and allows you to share your screen as well. Zoom also does that. There's a lot of different options you have to work with things. That it doesn't just have to be Facebook. That's just one that I mentioned because we're on that right now. So a lot of different opportunities. Keep reaching out with those opportunities. Keep sharing in this video so people can keep getting that on different ways that we can conference with our students and take things virtual. So awesome stuff there, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that people are echoing this. Like, teachers are equipped to handle this. So in this country, like teachers have not always gotten the respect that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
This is a moment. This is a huge moment where I don't think a district's decision or requirements are going to solve it. What I think is going to solve it, and what I think is going to bring us to the other side, is individual teachers doing great things in collaboration together.
Yeah.
Because that's what's affecting the teacher to student relationship, therefore the continuation of the educational process happening. This has never happened in the history of the United States, where we literally just have these long-term closures for a reason that we can't really control. Like, this is new territory. So the way I view this is like, this is basically the moon for us. Like, we just landed and we have to figure out how it all works. And we can freak out and go, holy crap, we're on the moon. Or we can start to figure out how to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a moment in time where every single teacher has the capacity to collaborate with their peers, their colleagues, their administrators, their district, and their students and their stakeholders to prove how amazing we actually are, to prove that we can weather this storm, that we can still close gaps, we can still build relationships, we can still do the amazing things we do every single day in the most adverse conditions that we've ever seen. This is an opportunity and a moment in time where we can prove to the entire country and the entire world just how powerful, smart, innovative, and inspiring we can be as educators. This is an opportunity, and I refuse to see this as anything else except for an opportunity to show the world how great we can be as educators, and show the world how great our community and our network as teachers are. I've seen more posts, more outreach, more just willing to help if you need anything sort of posts than I've ever seen before on Facebook. Because we always have two choices. We can dig a ditch and complain about how deep it is, or we can figure out a way to get out of it. And so we need to make the decision to make the best of this situation. And if we refuse to see the negative, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, if we refuse to acknowledge that this is not possible, and we say, this is possible, we can do it, we will find the needed solutions. And I can tell you that I am committed, Jeff is committed, the entire Teach Better team is committed to providing any support, any help any guidance you need. If you're wondering how a tool works, reach out. If you're wondering how to communicate with parents, reach out. If you're wondering how to plan for a whole week with a line to DOK and targets, reach out. If you're wondering like, hey, I'm just stressed out and I need someone to talk to, reach out. We are here for you. But the truth is, you have to make the decision because you're the ones in the trenches. You're the ones that have this direct connection to students. This is our time. This is our opportunity. And that's how I'm choosing to view this, because that's how we're going to come out of this better. That's how we're going to come out of this better than we've ever been before. Because we can literally prove that it's us keeping education alive in this country. It's not some policy. It's not some state test. It's not some newfangled whatever. It's teachers on the ground with students, keeping education happening in the most adverse conditions we've ever seen in this country. And I'm getting a little kind of soapboxy, and I'm really sorry, but I'm just excited. I don't know if I should be excited, but I am, because this is a really unique opportunity. And I refuse to see this as just a negative. This has changed a lot for our business and what we do with schools. And I just found out that every single school in the country is basically closed, which is going to change a lot of what we do. So we have to adjust as much as possible. So that's why we're going to be here every single day at 8 a.m. to help you in any way we possibly can, because we can come out of this better.
So with that, Chad just mentioned, we'll touch on again that we are back here every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Here, these are recorded, so they're in the group. You can go back and watch all of them. They are going to be out on YouTube later each day, and then they will also be released on the Teach Better Talk podcast as an additional podcast episode as well, if you're more audio version. But I will encourage you, if you are listening to the podcast right now, to also get into the group because of the collaboration that is going on already in the comments, the tools that are being put out that we maybe didn't get to mention and we didn't specifically talk to. I tried to mention a bunch of them, but we didn't get all of them. There are amazing teachers in this group that are able to help you and connect. And like Chad said, continue to reach out. Keep an eye out. Teachbetter.com. We have more targeted blogs coming out. We have targeted downloads coming out. A new course coming out very, very soon. Pushing this all out. And like Chad said, I'm going to say it again and again. Reach out, reach out, reach out. These lives are not the only chance that you can. Not your only opportunity. You can email us. You can tweet at us. You can hit us on Instagram. Whatever you need to do, reach out to us. Let us know if there's anything that we can help. If there's something you're looking for, like Chad said, if you're looking for us help on a specific tool or specific challenge that you're facing, let us know so we can help you. We appreciate not only everything you do on a daily basis, but also the way in which we are seeing teachers step up all over the place right now to help each other, to help their kids. And I said it, I'm going to say it again. I said it at the Teach Better conference, that the thing that gives us hope, it was that room of teachers. This is another thing that gives me hope for our future. And just where our country and where our world is going is the way in which people are stepping up right now. So continue to do that. We love all you. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. I think Ray's going to be here live tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Central. So you can catch her there. We'll see you on social media. Keep reaching out. We love all you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.